everybody! So today I am going to be doing a comparison review on my two FinFun Monofins. So these are from two years apart. So this one I got in 2015 for Christmas. It was my first mermaid tail ever, and this one I received about a month ago, I think, and it's my fourth mermaid tail ever. So I'm just going to be talking about the differences in the monofin itself, in the skin, in the durability, and just overall how they're different, being 2 years apart. So first I'm going to be talking about the monofins themselves. The one in the front is the one I got in 2015, and this one with the blue around the edges and down on the ankles is from this year. The main difference with these is the blue trimming, which I quite like. I think it's a little bit prettier, and it does offer a bit of extra protection around the heels and the tips where your monofin's most likely to get damaged or to fray. This is just kind of, I think it's just a bit thicker than the rest of the thing. It's a bit smoother as well, so I guess it doesn't get caught as much. And it also feels like, I think these have, okay, no they don't actually. So these ones just have this extra tip bit, which is just very kind of squishy, and I think it's actually just because the seam has been kind of done thicker, so it's a lot thicker around the actual edge. I haven't had a lot of damage with this yet. It's kind of covered in sand from the last time it's been used. I think that's sand anyway. That might just be a little bit of pilling, but it's not really damaged in any way so far. I have used this for one pool swim, and it's been worn on land for a couple hours, I suppose. So it hasn't had a huge amount of wear, but it has been tested. Whereas this one from a couple years ago, I've swum in countless times, at least 20, 30, probably, like, that's not a crazy amount compared to some people, but probably 20, 30 swims over the course of a year or so. I haven't really used this one for a while, but this one has quite a lot of damage. I don't know if you can really see, but starting with the foot pockets, they are, for one, super baggy. I'm gonna put this down here. They are super stretched and baggy, and they just don't stay on. They're freaking huge. And the actual neoprene kind of around them has pulled as well, so that there's like no support there. So if you put your feet in here, they kind of just pull up like this, and you don't get the propulsion that you should be getting. It's also got some little holes on the back around the ankles, and if we look at the tips, they also have a lot of holes in them. It hasn't completely torn yet, but there is a lot of holes, and there's a couple of stitches pulling on like the inside where like the fluke opens just here from taking the cover off. And I suppose after a couple years, like, that's not too bad. The only thing I'm kind of disappointed in is the foot pockets, because they started getting very loose after only 2 or 3 swims, so that was a little bit sad when I first had this, but I still used it for a long time and I was still pretty happy with it, but there just wasn't as much protection and propulsion that there should have been. The propulsion with this one, I was a little bit scared at first because I knew how bad my other one was being. But I found once I had the skin over the top of this one, it was really secure. It was quite tight on my feet. I actually found that the foot pockets were a little too small, which is strange because this is the adult one, yeah, the Monofin Pro. They're both pros. So that was a little weird. The foot pockets are just very tight, and they also have an extra, it's like 2 thick layers of lycra around the feet, which is really nice. And it feels a lot snugger when you're wearing this one, and I guess that's what they've improved with their design, is they've just made it more comfortable and more durable, and that's great. Next I'm going to be talking about the tail skins that I have for these tails. So the one for my old tail is the Arctic Blue Mermaiden's tail, I think. So this is one of their like signature kind of tails. It's got these lovely blue colours, and the fluke is like, you know, it's quite pretty. It's got like this water design. And then my one from this year is this really awesome steampunk, I think it's called the Iron Mermaiden tail. Has beautiful design all the way across it, and it's very pretty, and I love the design. There's a lot of differences I've found in these skins, like they're very different. For the first thing, my first one is so thin, like it's so thin. You can see like everything through it when you wear it. And it wasn't like that completely when I first got it. It was still, the material was very light and very thin, but it did also stretch a lot, and it's, you know, it's not in top condition. Where with this one I found that it's a lot heavier and it's a lot thicker, and you can't see anything through it when I'm pressing my hand against it, which is great. You can, if you really pull it, obviously it gets a little bit white because of the print and it's white on the inside, but apart from that, like, it's very thick and it's very beautiful. I really love this skin. The other thing that they've added, I think within the last year or so, is these tip protectors on their skins. So FinFun started doing this, I guess, because tips were getting very damaged, especially, you know, if you're not comfortable in deeper water and you're going to be staying in the shallow water. So these are really awesome. I love these. They're pretty much invisible in the water, and like, you can't really notice them otherwise, except, you know, they're kind of a little bit more rigid than the rest of the skin. But I think this is just, it's some sort of plastic coating. I know a couple of other companies have kind of ones you can stick on yourself. Suntails has like kind of training wheels, tips that you can put on to keep the tips protected until like you're comfortable without them. But I found that this is just really good for making sure the shape stays the way it should be on the monofin, and it just protects everything a lot better. If I show you the tips on my old tail, you'll see why these are very important. So I have stitched up some of the holes on here, not very well because I didn't know how to stitch one. I did, but this is one of the tips. It has some holes in it and some that I haven't fixed because they're just kind of being destroyed, and it's got all these like little fluffy bits. The other side is worse. This one, I didn't know what I was doing. I tried to fix it. Basically there were just some holes and I was trying to put stitches in them, but you know, I tried. But if I'd had those tip protectors, then it probably would have lasted a lot longer. So I'm really happy that they've added that to their designs now. The other major thing that happened with my old tail is it split completely down the fluke. I don't know if this has ever happened to anyone else. I hadn't seen it happen. I was like, what the hell, my tail is literally just like in half. But my friend was swimming in it a year ago, and it basically, I don't know if you can see this giant seam, but it pretty much just fell apart. She was kicking, she came up, and you could see the monofin. Like, it just split open. It was very strange. So I did stitch that up a little bit better than I had been before because I knew how to hand stitch a little bit better. And there's also these giant holes in the heel area that I haven't fixed because I stopped using the tail. But basically, it's got a lot of holes in it, and it's very thin and kind of floppy and stretched, and very stretched actually. I can, this is touching the ground where my ankles would be, and it comes up to here. So I can wear this over my shoulders, which, you know, is not ideal for me because I'm not that tall. But it is 2 years old. It served an okay purpose, but there's been a lot of different upgrades, and I love those upgrades. They've been really good for me. I've also found that the tip protectors are really good at actually putting the skin on the monofin. So here is monofin, here is your skin. I don't know if you guys can see this properly, but I will try my best to show you. So you just slip the top over it, and then like the tips kind of, they sit kind of out. So you can just kind of grab the tip and hook it over, and then squish it into place, and like it fits really well, which I love. There we go. So it just slides on very easily. It's very good like that. And again, you can hardly see them when they're on there. And this extra skin, because it's thick and a lot more durable, it keeps your feet nice and pressed in, so you get a lot more propulsion and it's a lot more comfortable. With my older one, because everything is stretched and thin and just not as good as it was, let's see if we can, it's just very, I suppose it's easy to put on, but it's very floppy. Let's see if I can even do this, like it just doesn't want to move. But like the sides, they're just so stretched. Like there's no elastic left in this, that's just like there's no elastic. Gotta try and pull it down and then wiggle it over. Oh gosh, why is this so hard? This isn't normal. There we go. And yeah, you can see like that's so stretched. And when this wasn't super stretched, I did find it was also a lot harder to put the tips on. So I tended to just not take them off. But yeah, see, look at this side, like it's just so floppy and like bleh. And you get this little like, what is this? Like, just shove that on. And yeah, you can see it's very, like, it's super floppy and just stretched and sad. But it's 2 years old and I use it quite a lot in probably not the best way, but I am going to be a lot more careful with my new one because it's super pretty and I love it and it's really cool. And I definitely think that if maybe you've had a bad experience with a FinFun tail in the past, whether, you know, it didn't fit or it fell apart really quickly, it would be worth it to get a new one because they've changed their design quite a lot and their designs are so pretty. They still have these old ones as well. I believe they still have all the original, like the blues and the greens and stuff. But everything's a lot better quality now and they've really upped their everything, even customer service and everything like that is just really, really wonderful. They're very helpful. And I am very happy to have 2 of their tails, even though one of them I can't really use anymore. So yeah, in conclusion, FinFun is great. If you're considering getting fairy tail, get one of theirs because they're fairly cheap and I really, really love them. That's all for today, guys. I hope that this has been a little bit helpful for anyone wanting to know the differences and the new designs and everything from FinFun. I hope this could have helped at all. And if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up because that's really helpful, and subscribe to my channel and comment, do all those wonderful things. And I will see you in the next one. Bye guys!